All right, minus technical difficulties, we should be good to go. All right, Georgia takes on number 9 Ole Miss on Saturday, 7 o'clock prime time, ESPN. We get the A team treatment. We get Fowler and Herb Street. Georgia coming off of a narrow victory over the Missouri Tigers, who are now 14th ranked in the country. They'll be taking on Tennessee at 3:30 at home in Columbia, which I think that's a game that me and you will both be watching pretty
Yeah.
carefully. Let's get in before we get into the preview of the Ole Miss or Georgia Ole Miss game. Let's talk about the Georgia Missouri game. We'll do a quick couple minutes on it, and then we'll move to this preview. So it's such a big game. So,
All right. Do you want me to go first?
yeah, go for it. Do what you got to do.
It was definitely not Georgia's best game, but considering they beat the number team or 12 team in the country by 9 points, 2 scores, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, but I've seen Georgia play better, both offensively, defensively.
Sure.
Offensively, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but if you got the ball inside in the red zone, at least you got 4 downs, at least throw it once into the end zone. And there was a lot of horizontal passing. And we got bogged down several times, had to kick field goals where if Georgia could have punched it in, that would have made that score a lot more lopsided than we would have covered, obviously.
Honestly, yeah.
So offensively, we were able, outside of a couple of times, we were able to move the ball. I was impressed with Missouri's front. They were disruptive. They were aggressive. They're feisty. That's what I would say. That's 2 years in a row. So
and they had a really good. They had a good game plan against Georgia. I went back.
They had 2 weeks to prepare, right?
Yeah.
Coming off a bye, and I don't like his sideline antics, but I'm starting to think, for my money, I'll take Drinkowitz over Heupel and some of these other guys that seem to be a lot of fluff and no substance yet.
Well,
And he's dealing with a much smaller program. Getting people to come to Columbia, Missouri in the Middle Earth is not easy. So give him tons of credit. He's bolstered his roster with transfer and what you got to do now in these days. Outside contain, which has been a problem on defense. It's been a problem all year long. It continues to be a problem. I don't know if it's run fits. I don't think it's our linebackers necessarily. I don't know. I don't know what it is exactly. I think it may be our outside linebackers.
I think it's outside.
Huh?
I think it's outside, not getting any push.
Well, and also getting washed down, right?
Well,
And so not being able to maintain leverage. But, yeah, that's a real problem. So that's my biggest takeaways is that Georgia has got to find a way to punch it in. Once we get inside the red zone, I'd like to see a few more vertical passes. Our offensive line it wasn't all game, but our offensive line got whipped. We ran the ball for 130-something yards, but
yeah, 130.
We were at the game. It did not fit. It felt like the hardest 130 yards I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Yeah.
Crowd, you gave it a B minus?
I'd give it. I would. C plus B minus.
Yeah, I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was great. There's still you and I sat. No, I won't say where we sat, but we sat where people that sit down there should give a shit.
Yeah.
And the people to the left of me, I don't think they ever stood up once. They were definitely the cheese and cracker folks. And I'm not sure if they're bandwagon fans, their kids go there and they came up to visit them because it was homecoming. But we're definitely going to need more of an effort out of the fans come Saturday against Ole Miss because it was good, but it wasn't great is what I would say. Those are all my takeaways from the Missouri game.
I'll start off with the crowd thing. I don't understand it. If you're going to pay all that money to go up there, and I know the people that are watching this and the people that are us, we're a little different. We live and breathe this every year. This is about every day of our lives. We're consuming some sort of Georgia football material or entertainment, something, this is this is the number one thing that consumes us
during the
all.
fall for sure. Yeah.
Even in the off season, everything that's fucking going on.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I read
Okay.
Jordan
So
stuff all
about
the
every you're but I just if you're not gonna go and you're not gonna cheer and you're not gonna make some noise and do your part as an audience, as a fan in the stands, don't go. If that makes you uncomfortable, if people yelling makes you uncomfortable and vulgarity, whatever the word is.
I didn't get that impression. I just
Well,
got
no, there are people like that though who go sit down, they yell at you and all that. And there's still
seen that in a
people.
while, but at Georgia,
Well, yeah, they're dying off, but there's a lot of people that are still like that. Fuck them if they want to be that way. I hope they do get 600. But I don't know. It bothers me. I don't think it'll be like this or be like that during the Ole Miss game. God, if it is, we're fucked. But I don't think so because Kirby called out the fan base. The players have called out the fan base. Social media, the Georgia football Twitter account or X account says something that this is the Georgia fan mission for this week is to be loud. So I don't think it's going to be much of a problem because every time that they've ever said that, the Georgia fans meet the expectations and go above. But it is a problem. It's a problem. And I could go on a much longer rant. I think this could be its own individual thing. I really do because I could talk about it a lot. In stadium music, what's going on during TV timeouts.
you see the what do you call it? The Jumbotron?
Yeah.
Was that the first time the guy ever operated it? We have a new guy. Did you on all those replays? Did you not watch the big board during those?
No, because here's the thing. It might not be. It could be the same person. It might not be. But last year in 2022, it was awful. That where Milton got hit by Jalen Carter. I never knew what happened in that replay.
Not Milton.
Who did I say?
Hickey Madoodle. I know who you're
number 5, Hendon Hooker.
Hooker, yeah.
I never saw the replay for that, and I kept because I thought it was a fumble. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I had no idea. It was terrible. So yeah, no, I'm with you. It's terrible. But the in-game entertainment's shitty. They do the music shitty. Georgia for as elite as they are at a lot of things, and we are elite at a lot of things. The in-game entertainment at Sanford Stadium it's Kentucky's probably the worst I've ever seen.
I've ever seen. It was so incredibly cheesy, but yeah,
it was awful. I mean, that was an embarrassment. It's almost like going to a basketball game in the early 2000s. But it's pretty close to there. There's some other places that I've been to. So they got to do a better job. And I don't know when it's going to ever change. Something's got to happen. And it's people like us that probably are part of that where we, say something. I might write some more letters about trees being planted around the stadium. But yeah.
Oh, excuse me. I'm dealing with the cold. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. So I'll just give my thoughts on it before we, get bogged down like Georgia's offense did and the crowd noise. Offensively, I think we had a fine game. I think, the red zone execution, I don't know if that was planned or on purpose. I know we talked about it a lot after the game. Not to turn over the ball, maybe, was the idea there, not hitting it vertically in the right area. That's got to be fixed, especially in this game. Ole Miss is extremely weak in the middle. So something's got to give there. I don't know. But, I mean, it has been a recurring issue, but it's weird. And I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and you can tell me. But it has felt like Georgia will have a game where they're elite in the red zone, Florida, and then turn around the next week, and it's a struggle fest in the red zone. Yeah. It's felt like that every other game. So I don't know what that is. I don't know how you fix it. I don't know anything. They don't pay me the money to do that. So I don't know. It's got to be fixed though, especially in this game.
Let me ask you though. I mean, again, doesn't matter. I'm just curious. What do you think? You think it's protecting Carson Beck, not wanting to turn the ball over?
It has to do. I don't know
Because
if it has to do with
why
protecting
wouldn't you throw
back.
it once in the end zone in a high percentage?
I don't
Either
know.
you're going to throw it, out of bounds, fade pass to the back corner pylon, over the, I don't know, do something.
Yeah,
At
it was
least
just
sit
not
there and
very
stretch the
creative.
defense.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, now look, I'll give Missouri's defensive backs credit. There weren't guys that were just running down the field wide
no,
open.
I agree.
They're doing a pretty damn good job. So I think it might have been that they respected their defensive backs and they didn't want to turn the ball over because they knew that was going to be that type of game.
And I don't think they had 100% confidence in the pass protection either. He got sacked 3
Wow.
times. Yeah.
Look, and that brings me to my next point. Good tee up there. Xavier Truss, man, I love him. I think he's a good ball player. He's not a SEC right tackle.
No, I agree.
He's a good guard. He's a good left guard. He's a road grader, But I've watched some film breakdowns. It's really bad.
Let me ask you. Some of that, in my opinion, is up to Bobo and the offensive staff to not ask him to do things that athletically he's not capable of doing.
Yeah, yeah.
The probability of him executing is really low.
Yeah,
you can't ask him. Some of the stuff they were asking him to do, he's just not that guy.
Yeah, no, it was just bad. I think overall, though, the offensive line played well. I mean, Missouri was bringing 6, 7 guys every play.
Yeah,
and they were stunting.
Yep.
And that gets tricky, So I think Missouri had a really good game plan. They had to play damn near perfect. They came close, and really the 2 turnovers were the biggest factor of this game. I mean, it was pretty even all the way to except time of possession, which I don't care what Kirby says.
It matters.
It matters. 1,000% matters, and turnovers matter. Those are probably the 2, and penalty yardage. Those are the 3 things that will tell you which way the game's going to go if it's tight. Defensively, we have got to. Sacks are overrated. I can get along with that. That's a fine narrative. I can go and sit my hands on that one. But we've got to create havoc. We've got to create pressure, especially in this upcoming game. Brady Cook had way too much time, way too much, and they didn't have a spy. That to me has been
They had a spy in the second half, don't you think?
Yes, they absolutely had a spy.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand why they didn't do it in the first half, but whatever. It outside contain, I don't know, man, because it's only happened twice where Georgia hasn't been able to contain the run very well throughout the game. In 2 games. Where
Auburn in here.
Yeah. Whereas every single time. Kentucky had a little bit of success on us, but then we shut that shit down. So I don't know if it's listening to Zion Logue this week with Tate on their podcast. To me, it sounded like an execution thing. That guy's like a half second late. He got washed. He took the wrong way, wrong step. It just, it's just a fraction of something that's going on. Hopefully they work on their pursuit angles this week. I don't know how the fuck to fix it. But I have a lot of confidence in Will Muschamp, Glenn Schumann, and Kirby Smart to fix a problem on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm not too worried about it. Defensively, though, I do want to touch on one positive. I know a lot of people have been focusing on the negative all since Saturday on the defense. The defensive backs had a really good game. Daylon Everett got picked on a lot, and in that second half there, he bowed up. He bowed up. He grew up a little bit right there.
Julian Humphrey had a good game too.
Julian Humphrey, who is now Julio Humphrey in my mind, he played really well. Malachi Starks is a baller. Javon Bullard is him and Bullard are probably my 2 favorite on this defense right now. They knock the shit out of people. They play hard. Tyke had another great game. we probably have the best defensive backfield in the country, and that's probably why we're
I
so
would
good
agree
in
with
these
that.
big spots like this whenever we play elite offenses. So I know they're not getting their roses that they deserve. They got to go out and do it again this week. So, but kudos to them.
How about our boy Peyton Wood? It was in Peyton, right? Woodring.
Yeah, Woodring. Yeah,
Big kick, bro. That
big
was a
kick.
big
There were two
kick.
big kicks right there. That 47-yarder, man. I
That
was.
last one.
Ooh, I didn't watch a
We were in
single
trouble
one.
if he hadn't made that. We were in serious.
Yeah, they would have scored there. It would have been interesting to see what would happen. But
Interesting. One word to use.
yeah,
Devastating.
and I know we talked about this, and you've defended yourself on it. But I never was nervous about Georgia losing this game. It felt like Georgia was dominating the entire time. They had control of the game. It was going to be a Herculean effort for Missouri to win this, and it didn't have the makings of that.
Well, I don't know if I would say Georgia was in control of the game. I can't go as far as
It
that.
felt like it to me.
When you can't control the run better than what we were running, and you're kicking field goals instead of scoring touchdowns, and you're leaving in the fourth quarter hope for an upset-minded team that can run the ball, and you have time on the clock. Like I said, that kick was huge because they would have had enough time, and we hadn't shown any propensity to stop them all game long. So I'm not sure what that I'm not sure what that would have looked like, but it was a pucker factor for me. Definitely in that fourth when we just didn't pull away. But you and I talked about it. It looks like sometimes Georgia just in a period of like 4 minutes of the game,
dude.
and it's like, whoa, what? I mean, we're up now by 10 points or 13,
Right.
and we were down, and so it can happen quickly. But you get an offense like coming up, and the one in Tennessee at home, Knoxville, Tennessee is going to be at home. You get an offense getting the score on you. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to be able to always find that other gear and then hope you don't have turnovers or something like that. That's devastating. So I just think we're sometimes seems to be flirting with fire a little bit more than we need to, I guess is what I'm saying.
I think this team's really good. I finally got kind of a read on this team. I really do. I think this team plays with a ton of heart. You compared it to the 2017 team whenever we were talking earlier. I think that's a really good comparison. I don't think this team does anything exceptionally really well. They just do really good on all fronts. It's going to be hard to beat those type of teams. They would be an average team any given year, but this year with so much parity and the gaps, it's pretty narrow. I think Georgia's the best team in the country. I don't care where the CFP rankings are. I could care less. I've watched enough. I think Georgia's really good. I think Georgia can win another national championship. To me, though, this kind of reminds me of the year, the first year of that playoff, that 2014 year, when Alabama, they struggled a lot in a lot of those games in the SEC going down the stretch, especially. Auburn gave them a scare. They're good. They're not great. They're not elite. And that Alabama team didn't win a national championship. They got beat by Ohio State that year. I don't know if that will happen. I'm not saying any of that, but it reminds me of that type of team.
Yeah, I just don't know if there's the separation that there's been in college football over the last 6 years. Where you had Georgia for a couple of years that were, they were dominant. Alabama before that, right? You don't see that type of separation. I don't know if that's NIL, transfer portal, or if it's just circumstances. I don't think we'll know until we get a little more history behind us and sample size. But I would say Georgia's elite because they do two things so far. They don't hurt themselves with penalties. You're off camera, right?
Yeah, I know. I gotta get some. Sorry, keep going.
So they don't hurt themselves with stupid, undisciplined penalties, typically, and so far. And we keep it close with turnovers. Although we got 2, so our differential on the year is what, about even? As can't we're not ahead, I don't think. But if you have a team that plays pretty good defense, can score some points, doesn't make a lot of stupid penalties, and doesn't turn the ball over, especially this reason we had friends coming in from Missouri, God bless them.
Yeah.
And they were talking a whole bunch of smack, which I thought was kind of funny. And I told them, I said, well, I said, y'all can do it, but it's going to be a pretty tall order to beat Georgia at home. And that's the reason, like you said, they're good at all different phases, and they're deep, and they don't do a lot of stupid things to hurt themselves.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard to beat those types of teams.
Yeah, and there's not a team out there there's not a team out there right now that has one elite side of the ball. There's not a single one. I
would agree with that.
I take that back. The only team that is elite on one side of the ball is LSU. LSU's elite on offense, but their defense is so fucking
good. I think
they're. I don't know, man. I think they're
pretty
elite.
To me is like Joe Burrow. Are we comparing this year's offense to the Joe Burrow?
No. All right. It's great there. I'll put it. It's great.
I think it's good.
So no, but I don't think there's an elite team out there. I think Georgia's probably the best of the best. They're going to be knife fights, and especially coming down the stretch here. Alabama's going to be a knife fight.
If we get there, you're getting way ahead of us. We gotta close out this season.
And the playoffs could be a knife fight. But Georgia has every opportunity to win the whole thing again. And if they do, I think this is one of Kirby's best coaching jobs.
I would agree with that.
With the amount of talent that he's lost, and what to me, what they have done so far is one of the more impressive things that Kirby's ever done, especially with all the pressure. There's a ton of pressure on these guys, and they know it too.
Pressure is a privilege, man.
Yeah. Hey, he's done a really good job.
How about the one thing we didn't talk about that I saw, and it's not us breaking this, but and I noticed it. They took Tyke out and put
Kamari in slot.
Yeah, Kamari in slot, and they were putting mainly so he'd match up with Burden, and they shut his ass down too.
Yeah, they did.
They were all talking. You can't have just one player and expect him to win against a team like Georgia. But he got 56 yards, and most of those were in the first half. I'm not sure how.
Most of it was on that first
catch,
touchdown catch.
Yeah, they shut him down, and big credit goes to Kirby and the coaching staff for making that switch, and to Tyke for accepting kind of the role. He did get a big time sack though.
Yeah, I mean Tyke made some big plays, but they all know their role. That's what I like about this defense is they know what they need to do in order to win. All right, let's get into the Ole Miss game. I had to take myself off camera because I was really crooked and it was driving me insane. I'm still crooked, but it's better than what it was. So sorry to those people who get annoyed with that. It annoys me too. All right. Going Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin. There's a new controversy. Have you seen this? I might be breaking.
Something about it and cussing and telling a player because of mental health. Check your.
I gotta tell you, not a good look. I honestly, he's got to be suspended at this point.
Really?
Yeah,
you didn't show up when the coach. I'm sorry, we live in a different era, bro. If Jared White asked you to show up to his office at a certain time and you were MIA for fucking days, I'm sorry. I don't give a shit if you're Herschel Walker.
I'm joking. I'm being sarcastic. But it would be a huge help if that would happen. But now, there's a little bit of scandal, and that's not a good thing before you play the biggest game.
How much do you think that really bothers Lane Kiffin? He strikes me as a personality where he doesn't give two Frenchman fucks. What that?
It might bother him a little bit. I mean, it's going to be a question that they're all going to have to answer, and that's an uncomfortable thing to do. But anyway, going to the game, Georgia, you can get they're 10.5, 11.5. You can get it different books, different places, favorites. Brock Bowers could play. I think I think Brock is going to play. Is he a starter? I don't know, but he was running 20 miles an hour, so the guy's going to play.
Well, his mom
Huh?
His mom said he was going to play.
Yeah, his mom did say on Facebook. So I think I've changed a lot. This game did worry me at the beginning of the. It worried me in the.
Still worries me.
Look, there's always a chance that Georgia loses, but let me do this. I was worried about this game in the off season in August and July. I was worried about this game in September and October, just the way we looked. And up till about, I don't know, Thursday of last week, I was really worried about this game. I've noticed a couple of things about Ole Miss. The lines of scrimmage are just not good. Yeah.
Did you hear they lost it off it there? I think it was the right tackle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in practice, like a broken foot. I forgot what the dude.
No shit. I didn't hear any about that.
Number 56, whatever his name is.
Yeah, he was the best thing they had.
Yeah, they said he was the best run blocker they had, but yeah.
So that's funny that you said that. I was about to say the best player they got is their right tackle. So all right. Yeah, their line of scrimmage is weak. And if you're gonna go toe to toe, that's the one thing where I kind of gave Missouri a chance because their defense and offensive line are decent enough to, scrap with Georgia, and it showed. I mean, they were decent at that. They have a really good sack rate, but it's a boom and bust defense. I think everyone's kind of getting lost into that. Also, I got to tell you, I've watched a ton. I've watched a ton of Ole Miss this week. They get special teams issues, man. And I don't know why anyone's not talking about that. It's a major issue.
Well, and I haven't watched it. I've watched enough. Maybe not enough, but I watched some. What's their special team issues?
Block field goals, muff punts, muff field goals, gives up a ton on kickoff and punt return. They're not good on special teams at all. Like if we were ranking them, they would probably be dead last. Every Ole Miss game I've watched, they've at least had one special team snafu, like a major one that was a swing of 7 points. Every game they play has been a major. The only one where they didn't have one was at the beginning of the year whenever they were playing a nobody school. Even against Tech, they had a snafu. They've had over 4 blocked field goals.
Well, that bodes well.
Yeah, and it's the weather report for right now. That's another thing I was going to talk about. The weather, I think, is going to be rain, but I think it's going to be rain in the morning, and it's going to be out of here by the time kickoff comes around. Honestly, I would want it to flood. If it was going to rain, I'd want it to rain during the game. I think Georgia would have a better shot, honestly. It'd be a bigger blowout, I think.
I don't know. Because, anyway, I don't want to get into – but Ole Miss is more of a running team. People think of Lane.
Lane, yeah.
Yeah, and they've got a good running quarterback.
They got a good running quarterback. Junkins is a really good running back.
So I don't know. To me, they seem more of a threat to run. So I'm not sure if the rain would help or hurt. But anyway,
I think it would help. We'd key in on that.
They both have
all right, listen to this. Ole Miss is 118th in penalties. That's a 7-game average. Every game they average 7 penalties. 118th. They're one of the worst teams in penalties in the country. There's only 124. So they're down at the bottom. So crowd noise is going to play in. And I'll tell you another thing. Ole Miss has not played good on the road. They didn't that Alabama game.
Where did they play that one?
Alabama.
No, Tulane.
Tulane.
Yeah, where they?
It was on the road. It was in New Orleans. They didn't play well that game.
No, they did not.
And that was in front of 40,000 people.
Yeah.
That Alabama game where they played on the road, I watched that live. Alabama really owned that game. They dominated them, and it was very similar to the Georgia Tennessee game of last year, where the score was like 14 points, but Alabama was in control of that thing the entire time. Ole Miss couldn't do anything offensively. I know I would probably say Alabama's defense is a little bit better than Georgia's defense right
I
now,
would agree with that.
but they're very similar. I again, just something to keep in mind. But they're 118th in penalties. That's going to have to be inverted. They're 97th on third down conversion in the country for their offense. Georgia's third best in the country. They're also 98th on third down on defense, and we're one of the best. I think we're number 1 or number 2 on third down on offense. Those are really key. And a lot of people say, "Well, this is how Ole Miss. This is the path of victory here." I've done a lot. They are they're number. Let's see. Yeah, they're in the top 10 of explosive plays offensively. They have a ton of explosive plays. You know what Georgia's rank is on explosive plays on defense?
Like giving up explosive plays.
Yeah.
They got to be in the top 5.
They're number 12, but it's there's a lot of ties. But yeah, I mean they're the top 10. The more and more I look at this, and I have the right to change my mind. But the more and more I've sat here and I've looked at this, and because I was really nervous. I was trying to talk to myself, well, maybe Georgia, this is it. This is I better start preparing myself. And I was trying to. Honestly, that's what the whole reason why I did all of that is to prepare myself for the worst. And the more and more I look at it, the more and more I feel confident about this. It's going to be a tall order at 7:00 at night. Same for same. The SEC East is on the line here. It's going to be a tough task for them to do it. And
if Missouri beats Tennessee, that comes on earlier. And if
it's over,
like it's going to happen, right? Georgia. Yeah. I know they're not probably saying they're not going to watch the scoreboard. They'll know it.
They'll know. But even Georgia still has to go out there and win it. They got to win at least one of these two games if Tennessee loses. But it's just going to be a really tough task. And I know Josh Payton, look, I used to love him because he was honest and he would give, he would always be kind of as honest as he could be. And he was a really good evaluator of these type of things. He now works with CBS 24/7 does. Dude, he's become a company man because he was trying to sell that if Georgia loses this game, Tennessee beats Missouri, the SEC East championship is in Knoxville at 3:30. What a crazy game that would be. And he was really trying to sell that up. Look, but the weird thing is he talked about how he picked Georgia, but Ole Miss to cover. Then he talked about the 118th in penalties. He talked about the third down. He talked about the explosive plays. And he said, well, all those are going to have to be inverted. If you invert one of those, you're still not going to win the game. So I don't know what Ole Miss is going to do. They're going to have to play an A++ game, and Georgia's going to have to play like a C+ game for them to have a shot. If we're really being honest with each other, this is our safety nest. I think this is going to be a lot like that Tennessee game last year. This is it.
You're right.
I am right. I'm not going to go into my score prediction, but I just told you everything I thought. I think Georgia's going to win by 2 scores or more. I think they might win by 17. But anyway.
Let me give you a slightly different alternative because on paper, you look at the stars on the roster.
Yeah.
You look at all the other factors. We're deeper. We're more cohesive. How many transfers have come into Ole Miss?
A ton.
Okay. You look at how complicated, and I do believe his, and I think that's one of the reasons that, in my observation, which is limited, it seems to me like Lane Kiffin and his offense is fairly complicated. Like there's a lot of check with me,
right,
looking to the sideline, changing the play by the coaches in a noisy, loud environment. The more complicated you make shit, the more likely you're going to have trouble. If you're 118th, that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. But here's what concerns me. Number one, I think they're a good running team. I think every team that has given Georgia problems on offense meaning scoring a lot of points, and Georgia has a hard time stopping them.
Yeah.
What they all had in common: a quarterback that can gash you, right?
Right.
Even Ohio State, which we were not anticipating last year, right?
Right.
Stroud was not known to be, Johnny Manziel, but he wore our
Right.
ass out in the Peach Bowl. But
Yeah.
so the fact that Jackson Dart is a good runner, the fact that Lane Kiffin is going to be a riverboat gambler, I would almost bet you if we don't keep them behind the chains and make it 3rd and long, like 3rd and 8, and hold them to less than 3rd and 5, or more than 3rd and 5, he's going to go for it almost every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's where he gets in trouble against Alabama.
Yes. Well,
elite team. That's where he gets in trouble with the elite. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't make them, but the law of averages over a while, tell you he's going to make some of those. So the good running team, what does Georgia struggle with? Outside containing quarterback run. I think they'll find a way. Mississippi and Lane Kiffin smart enough, he'll be able to. He's going to be able to exploit that. How much? I don't know.
Yeah.
Georgia turns the ball over. Momentum switches. The crowd gets out of the game. I can see where this would be a knife fight. And I could also see, because of the reasons we just talked, and I think this is where Georgia's offense, we got to get our shit straight. We got to have our feces coagulated, because we're going to have to score, and we're going to have to score touchdowns, and we're going to have to score almost every time we touch the ball.
Yeah.
He's going to be looking to score. I mean, as all offensive coordinators, but he knows how to score. So offense can eat, I believe, against this defense. I agree with you. Their linebackers, what the guy they have, I think, is the linebacker. He's a freshman, and he's a 5-star, but he plays like a freshman. He flashes, and then sometimes he's completely, it's like, dude, yeah.
Yeah. So are the defensive backs for Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a boom and bust defense. They can put a lot of pressure, but, I mean, let's be honest here. Also, Alabama's offensive line is not that good, and that's why Georgia's going to beat them in the SEC championship. But they haven't played an offensive line as good as Georgia's. We can sit here all we want. Mims is going to play. Mims was able to go against Mizzou, and they knew Ole Miss has a better sack rate than Missouri. I hope
he's healthy, and I hope they're not limiting him. And I hope he can play.
Yeah.
Because the athleticism and his size at that right tackle spot, some of the things that Bobo was asking Truss to do.
Yeah, not good.
Mims is healthy, I believe he can do.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to be Ole Miss is going to be able to score points. I'm not going to live in La La Land and say that they can't score points, but on the road, man, they haven't played good. I mean, that Auburn game was tight too. We both watched that game. They had a hard time with that. And they had a hard time overcoming that crowd. And Auburn, Georgia did too, but that was earlier in the season for us. That was our first road game. It wasn't for Ole Miss. They had a hard time dealing with that. I don't know. If there's anything else, I don't even know how long we've been running. But yeah, we can kill some more time. But
let's not kill time. Let's make it worthwhile. I'm run out of things to say too. Here's the thing: crowd, you got to show up. Georgia, we got to score and hopefully score touchdowns. I believe we're going to be able to score some points. Defense, if we make Jackson Dart a pocket passer or make him throw the ball to beat us,
we're good.
It's a long night for Ole Miss.
Yeah, it's going to be a long night. And I think that's what Georgia's going to do.
I hope.
Come on, man. I sound like Joe Biden. Come on, man.
Come on, man. It's a bunch of malarkey.
A bunch of baloney. No, I really do. Kirby and Glenn, Schumann, and Muschamp are going to make Jackson Dart beat them. And he could with his legs.
Yeah.
I know CJ Allen's a freshman, but damn, is he a good ball player. He is
for a freshman, he's really good. I haven't seen enough. I haven't noticed. Was it Raylan Wilson? Raylan
Wilson. He's come on late too, man. He's a ball player. Tell you, Xavier Sorey, he didn't play a whole lot Saturday. I bet you he'll play, and I think he's a good ball player too.
Number 11 is flashing. What's his name?
Jalen Walker.
He's flashing. Yeah. Number 35 is flashing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need to learn these young guys' names better.
Yeah, I do too.
Get them all mixed up right now. But I agree.
Yeah.
and that's Georgia was playing a lot of them, and they should have an early part of the year to get them here. But that Wilson guy, he's been hurt, so I don't know how much game experience, but he's going to get some Saturday.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get some Saturday. I don't know. The more and more I look at this game, the more and more I feel confident. I got to be honest, I was really worried about this game Sunday. And then as I looked into it and I looked into the numbers, it's the same thing with Florida that was the last, everyone was telling you upset, upset, upset. And you look at the numbers and none of the numbers sway in Florida's way. They don't sway in Ole Miss's way. They would have to have an anomaly of a game. And that's really hard to do when you're on the road with back-to-back national champs and Georgia, who knows this. This is the type of game, for some reason, they just wake up and they're a whole different ball team when they walk out.
Well, and what is Lane Kiffin's record against Power 5 teams?
It's 4-20. It's atrocious.
And if I were a Mississippi fan, Ole Miss fan, and he would have said, I saw that thing where he said, we're playing with house money, I'd have been like, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
We're the number 9 team in the country, and we're playing for
CFP.
Yeah,
look, if they win, they don't have to go to Atlanta to be in the CFP.
You're not playing with house money. You may not have as much to lose as Georgia, but you got a lot to lose here at this time of the year for the one loss. You're not playing with house money.
No.
And maybe that's a little bit of that riverboat gambler that he wants to portray. But as an Ole Miss fan, I'd be like, "Hey, bitch, we're coming to whip y'all's ass. We're not, we're not playing the underdog here." But
no.
I don't know.
No offense to Mark Rigg, I know he's going to be honored at halftime, and he'll probably call the Dawgs this week. That was a very Mark Rigg thing to say. No offense to Mark, love him, great coach, but that was odd. That was an odd thing to say, because he said that his team has seen him nervous or uptight when they play these type of games. And he says, I don't feel uptight about this one. Okay, dude, still doesn't – you got to go out there and play.
You know what he strikes me as? He strikes me as the type of guy almost like a Jim Harbaugh, not in terms of – but like in bigger games where they don't want to show that they think it's a bigger game, they do create – like, I'm playing with house money. They go for it in 4th and 1 in the first quarter and totally change the momentum.
Right, on their yard line.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing, man? This is a 4th quarter game. There's no reason to do shit like that.
Yeah, and that's we'll get into score.
Watch him not do that this weekend. Watch him be.
No, Lane Kiffin has done that his entire coaching career. That would be. Why would you change that?
Don't you know that was Nick Saban on the sideline?
Well, that's why they mostly got into fights.
Yeah, I would love to be just on the headset listening to that.
Yeah. That's the thing about this, where this has blowout potential, because Georgia's going to be ready for this game. Georgia's going to be looking for this game, and they probably were, honestly. I don't know, but I think they were kind of looking forward to this game more than Missouri game because it's Missouri. No, I picked, by the way, in my blog, check it out, Don Dog. I picked Missouri to beat Tennessee. I think Missouri's a better team than Tennessee.
I think Missouri's a more complete team. If they play the way they played against Georgia, or even were close, I think they're a more complete, disciplined, and better coach team.
Yeah, they are. I totally agree. Even though Missouri was, a really good team, I think Georgia knew that they were going to win, and whatever. We got to focus on Ole Miss, and let's be honest, we all know Kirby has been working on this Ole Miss offense probably since the bye week, probably before. I mean, that they did that with Tennessee, and they're very similar offenses, by the way. Everything's timing with them, rhythm, and Georgia's going to have really good practice with the running quarterbacks. I mean, Brady Cook, Dart, Milton, and then we're going to have potentially Milrow.
Gunnar Stockton's probably been playing that role of Jackson Dart all week.
Yeah, I'm sure, him or Vandergriff. So, this has the potential for blowout. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I would not be surprised at all if this is a blowout. If we're, they're in the third quarter, they're trying to fill something up on the primetime broadcast. All right. So nice segue. Look at me. I'm a professional. Give me your score prediction.
I'm going to say Georgia 48 because I think it's going to take that many points. And there's no reason that we shouldn't at home against the poorest Ole Miss defense. And I'm going to say 37 Ole Miss.
Oof.
11 points.
I'll be sick of my stomach if that happens.
Ow.
You good?
Yeah, I just hit my knee on the desk. I'm good.
No, that's not good. All right. So the college football nerds who have always helped me out with understanding these score predictions, they're really good at it. They had it Georgia 35.5 and Ole Miss, I think it was 19.5 or 18.5.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Those nerds know that half points are not scored in an actual game?
Well, that's the computer model. So it does that for betting wise. That's why.
Okay.
I think they're probably right. I'm gonna go. I think Georgia scores 42 points. I'm gonna go 42. God, every time we pick Georgia to score 40, they do not come close to it. Have you noticed that? Outside of the Florida game.
Put up a fucking goose egg. I've had them score 48 this week, and that's a big. I can't even.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 42. I'll say they score 3 touchdowns. Why not? 42-21 Georgia. I think it's that type of game. I just don't. I have a hard time seeing it.
Well, let's tell the people who've stuck around this long what was our predictions last week versus the reality. I was way off. I think. I think you were close. I think you were off 1 point on each team. I forget which way.
Yeah. Oh shit! I was really close.
Well, if you're not ready for it,
I was not ready for it. Wait, maybe did I write it down? Nope. Hold on, give me a sec. I can do it. I promise.
I've run out of things to say now, so this.
All right. So you said 46-27, and I said 42-21 or 24.
Well, you got Missouri score pretty close.
Yeah, I thought. Well, look, if Georgia scores 2 touchdowns, I'm right on the money. Yeah. So that's the biggest key.
I think candies and nuts, we'd all have a good Christmas.
Yeah, I know. So I think that's probably the biggest thing for this game. The key of the game is scoring in the red zone, scoring touchdowns, not field goals.
Scoring touchdowns and limiting, and I won't say stopping, but limiting Ole Miss's run game.
Yeah,
things will win and win the turnover battle, or at least keep it even.
Yeah. All right. Do you know Nolan Smith is the college game day picker?
No.
Yeah, he's going to be. Yeah, should have been David Pollock.
He's got plenty of personality.
Yeah, I think he's going to let shine. So he's the picker. All right. Is there anything else that we need to go over? You keep saying you're running out of things. I think you're old. You're dragging.
I've got a cold, man. I haven't felt good in 3 days. So.
Well, you got to get ready. We don't need that type of performance Saturday from you. You'll have to be cut.
Doing pizza in the Kamado Joe unless something changes and I don't feel better.
So. Well, yeah, we'll have to do the pizza.
Can't promise how they're going to turn out. I'm a virgin when it comes to pizza and the Kamado Joe. So.
All right. Go check out Don the Dog. We've got some predictions. Got my best bets of the week. SEC wise, I keep riding with Arkansas. They haven't proven me wrong yet. I love my Hogs. Woo Pick Suey.
You've been riding with them last week.
I've been riding with them for a while. I always loved Coach Pittman. So check that out. There's a couple other blogs, opinion usually because I run out of content to write about. Shipping needs, go to Unishippers Atlanta, small and large business, no matter who you are. All right. Is there anything else before we go?
Nope. Go Dogs.
All right. Go Dogs.
See ya.
See ya.